better timing for my ults. I mean, I feel like I've been aiming for the head more, which has been helping.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to, my squid placement has been like no one, unless they're like specifically like there are games where like now where I'm like taking over entirely and people are like they're focusing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is one of the games because I think that if I remember correctly in this game, the Magneto started focusing on my turrets
Yeah.
specifically
Mm-hmm.
after a certain point. But if they're not specifically looking up in the sky or behind me for my turrets, they're not shooting them down. And most of the time, my turrets are getting good value now.
Nice. All right. Sick. But you said ultimates are struggling. Yeah. Why don't we
Yeah,
take a look at some of those, and then we will
I think
be.
there's some in this game where I was just like,
Yeah.
I think I could have done it better, but
Mm-hmm.
just the review entirely of the gameplay because I think, like I said, I've been trying to I'm trying to be more conscious of looking at my teammates and
Mm-hmm.
just instead of trying to live and then end up getting killed and being offset with my team, just dying with them instead
Yep.
of worrying about the stats.
Yep. Or like if you're able to get out, then go for it. Right. It's always be better if you're easily capable of escaping. But if you're
Mhm.
not easily capable of escaping, then just let them kill you. That way you're not dying late.
With the team, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else? We can look at ultimates as we go.
No, really, that's about it. Like I've been playing just Namor nonstop. Like he's now on for this season. Like he's the number one player or character I use.
All right. Sick. Well, uh, let's just get started in it, and I will just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
All right.
That is much better.
Alright, going over taking the
I've
high
been
ground.
yeah. I've been trying to flank more as Namor just because it's easier with the two turrets. If you get a left click, it's basically just a
Mm-hmm. Sick.
automatic.
Alright. So we chuck them out here. Um, Only thing is, it doesn't seem like we line up who we're throwing your supercharged spear at. Because we kind of like rush it, and then I think that just the problem with that is that they don't actually get to shoot at anybody. I also don't think that the ones up top here had good angles on everything, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
seeing
maybe
that now.
yeah, so maybe it would have even been better if I'm sorry, I'm still trying to figure out the free roam here. Um, I still can't turn, but I figured out how to go up and down, so that's a bonus. Um, so the maybe if you had just chucked them like right behind them, right, like back here
On the
somewhere.
ambulance or something.
Yeah, like on the ambulance or something like that. That would create a really good crossfire effect. Where they have to now turn around to destroy them, which just keep prolongs their life and keeps them up. And gives them really good angles on like their entire team there.
Okay.
Nope, that's not you. Let's see which one you are. All right, you're F8.
Denizens of the deep. Cleanse this place. I know these wretched creatures all too well.
Good job taking the turrets out. Nice. They just aren't destroying those turrets. Oh, darn it. Stay impressive.
Consider yourself conquered. Feel the ocean's chill. Wash our foes away.
Yeah, so they're just like not looking at your octopi at all. In a higher level game, they might start to do that much more efficiently. So you're probably gonna want to start getting more efficient at your throwing them down and then getting quick follow up because they'll be getting destroyed quicker. So here, what we're doing right now is we have because they're not looking at them destroying them. You throw them down, your LT there, your trident, right? And that means it just doesn't get any value, and then your turrets are now lacking in punching power. but then they just leave them up and don't even look at them. So you get a whole other round of it in, which is good for you now. But if they start looking at those in higher ranks much better, they're gonna get destroyed much faster, and then you're just gonna get less value out of it. So let's see. We don't probably could have thrown another spear before they got down.
This should help you recover. Feel the ocean's chill.
See, notice how we're throwing them before we really have a target acquired as to who we're gonna throw our trident at, right? Which means that they could end up getting destroyed while we're looking for the next 5 seconds, and then you're not gonna be able to use it. So,
Okay.
my recommendation is try acquiring a target quicker, or even before you're throwing them. So you're like looking around real quick at the ground, finding a squishier target or a tank who's low or out of position or something like that. You chuck them all down real quick, um, and then after you chuck them all down, then you quickly acquire target and chuck a spear at them. Try to make it a little
Got
bit
you.
snappier before they're all able to just get around the corner. But the problem is that we're throwing them, and then we like take a little bit. Oh, we got a pick there. Good job.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I throw them down and then look for the target instead of knowing who I'm gonna go after first.
Yeah, if you
So it's
know,
basically pre-panning.
yeah, if you know who you're going after first, then you'll have a easier job of acquiring them. Doesn't always have to happen. Doesn't always have to be that way, but be easier that way. Yeah, good job kind of baiting them in there. And then use your swirl to get out. So good job.
Yeah, I've been using that a lot more too. Noticing after our session that I wasn't using it at all, and now
Yeah.
I'm getting out of a lot of sticky situations where I probably would be dead.
Yep, for sure.
This is real firepower. Drown them. Attack them.
Okay, still looking a little bit low on people. All right, Namor ult. That was pretty solid value. I think we hit a few people with that.
I think that might have been one of the only good ones in this. Because I remember I was like, "This is a choke point. They're stuck here. Let me
Yep.
pop this."
Yep, and they're all grouped
I
up.
think the rest of them, yeah, I think the rest of them were like there was more open area in this gameplay.
Okay, notice how you're aiming a little bit low. Remember that also at those longer distances, you have to aim above their heads because you have the little trident drop off as well.
Yep.
So you gotta be aiming probably up a little bit more. Not hitting as many headshots as we could be.
Nice, the ally awakens. Protect. Wash our foes away.
Little dude slimy. I remember that fucking getting away.
Yep. Rockets can be hard sometimes. Uh-oh. So the one went inside there. Might be good.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, so the one went inside. The other one has a pretty decent angle. Though we also didn't throw down your ice one. So that might have been good to have down. To be doing more damage and get more value. Yeah, just be careful about sometimes with the spamming of them. So we chuck that one. It looks like it gets destroyed by the map changing. Okay. Alright, so that ultimate was pretty good in that they were all grouped up and you got a decent bit of them. It just didn't seem like the team follow-up was there. Your team was in the middle of being ulted with 2 ultimates, right? They had let's see, I think I heard Thor ult. No, wait, I heard maybe I'm
Looks
confusing.
like Raccoon, Squirrel Girl.
Yeah. Yeah, Raccoon Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, those two popped.
I thought I heard the Thor. Yeah, Thor
The
UW2,
yeah,
right? So,
and now it's at 0. Okay.
right. So, that just made it so your team wasn't following up because they were in the middle popping a bunch of ultimates. So maybe you could have looked at the timing of it. I don't think that the placement of it was bad. I think the placement of it was good. It was just a bit of
Okay.
time. It was just a bit of timing of like paying attention to what's happening with your team because nobody was able to follow up on it. And then you also want to make
Yeah.
sure that when you're stunning people on the ground, look at the people you're stunning because you don't look like you get the Star Lord to 1 HP there, and you probably could have, and even the you also get um
Cloak.
Cloak and Dagger, right? Yeah, you get her to 1 HP as well. You get both of them to 1, but then you're like looking at the Squirrel Girl who's jumping around and moving around. So if you're looking at those people who get knocked to the ground, you'll be able to get 1, maybe even 2 kills out of that just by yourself. But you're not following up on it like on your own. Um, you
Got you.
you also could have like turrets that are set up to shoot into it, right? Like you have 2 turrets right now that you could be place it like you could have placed at your feet before you threw it or something like that. Um, and those would be able to shoot into it with you. Um, you could wait to save and hold on to your LT for when you have your ultimate, so that as soon as you land your ultimate, you're able to get a big burst of damage into anybody who gets stunned. But that's the problem, is that we don't have any personal follow up to your ultimate, right? So you get a lot of value, and your team's not there to follow up, and you're not following up on your own ult. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. So if you follow up on your own ultimate, you might be able to get a pick or 2 out of it, even though your team wasn't able to.
Yeah, because I felt like in this game my ults weren't really getting much value, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Hmm.
A nice ally awakens.
I think we missed throwing one of them out. We throw 1,
Nice
2, and then we don't throw a third one out. Right. So throwing a third one there probably could have gotten decent value.
Yeah, in my
Good
head,
placements though.
I was thinking, by the time that I get a second one, I could throw another 2 out and do basically just
Mm.
keep repeating the process.
Mm. Okay, that's a decent thought process. Like, if you get okay, yeah, I can vibe with that. If you um save 1, then you can keep rotating them and constantly have 2 up and active. That's a pretty decent thought process. I'm on board with that. Um, Another thing to think about though is if you do get 3 out, then that's extra burst damage to focus somebody
True.
down. So I think it might depend on kind of the stage of the fight. Maybe if you're just poking from really far away, don't chuck all 3, and then you can rotate them and have them more available. So that might be a good idea when the fight hasn't really begun yet, when you're pretty far
Just trying to
away,
get
and
a quick pick.
you're just kind of poking and trying to get a pick. But if you're in the middle of the brawl, it might be more valuable
Yeah,
to get
where they're all
3
at.
out. Yeah, because then you have much more burst damage, and you're able to secure a kill more easily if you get
Okay.
3 out. So might depend there, but that's a really good thought to be rotating them.
Yeah, because I've been trying to watch I've been watching a lot of like J3 and Nade Shot because
Yep.
they're both DPS
Yep.
mains. So just trying to watch how they play the game and just
Yep. That's a good idea.
How refreshing. Healing power. Perfect. This is real firepower. Wash our foes away. Feel the ocean's chill. Oceans protect me. This should help me recover.
Can't see nothing from there.
yeah, cloak. That's cloak's ability.
Yep. All right, so a little bit of awareness of the Star Lord because we didn't know he was behind you, but good job reacting quickly.
Yeah, he scared the shit out of me.
My strength is returning.
A little bit delayed with all that. I think he probably could have just shot at him because he was so low there by the time. Like, look at his health bar. We probably could have just shot at him normally without wasting all your turrets. And that
Yeah.
took a long. It takes a long ramp up too to get those down.
Fucking hurt.
Only 60 seconds left.
Hey, Kitty, enjoy the amplifier.
Oh, I remember this ult. I was thinking that they were all going to be behind him, and no one was behind him.
Yeah. So, wait till you see them, right? Be aware, because like they're all. I think the problem is that some of them are still walking back from spawn.
Yeah.
They're just not right there. So, yeah, don't assume. You don't usually want to assume where people are. Know where they are, right? Because that way you're not
Mhm.
just plopping an ult on nothing. So just pay attention, be aware of it. Good job dodging it. You've been doing really good with those. Backing a little far out of this fight.
Okay.
So it's good to that you were disengaging from some of those ultimates, but you could have probably done so from like where your rocket's at right now, and just gotten around the
Jumping in
corner.
that room.
Yeah, jumping in the room, which gives you an off angle, or just getting around this corner, because getting around this corner just dodges you out of all. Look at how it just negates all the
Mhm.
damage that anybody could possibly throw at you. You don't need to fully run away a mile away because then this is going to make it much more difficult for you to get value from back here. You're
To
not going to be able to,
re-engage.
yeah, to re-engage and to get value. It's like this is like how you would back up if you lost the fight, but you haven't lost the fight. Your teams are even right now, so
Got you.
definitely don't want to be backing up that far because then you're just not gonna be able to shoot at anything or do much from back here. Yeah, just look at like it's you can spam from this distance, but the further away you go, it's just gonna be much more difficult to line up those tridents.
Attack them.
Yeah. Notice how much more value you immediately got out of doing that little off angle right here.
Mhm.
Than by like all that time that you just like spend spamming from the front line. Just because if you're just spamming from the front line, you end up just wasting so much time just shooting into tanks and their tanking abilities and shields, and you end up just not getting a whole lot done. But when you flank from the side real quick, it's a quick off angle. Did we talk about off angles last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so quick off angle, very fast, very safe, and you immediately are able to just get straight to the back line on the characters you want to shoot at, and you just get immediate value out of it. So looking to do that kind of thing more often will probably get you value. And definitely want to be putting a bit more effort into aiming those tridents because I feel like we miss a good majority of them. Like
Yeah.
we're maybe connecting like a third of them, right? Which just isn't great because that just means that you're not
Getting that damage output.
yeah, exactly. Nice. Still aiming at those bodies. Good. I think you're definitely this from last time though. Like there's just generally much better performance overall, right? Like I think the octopus placement's been much better. You've been getting better rotations in, using your using your water wall a lot more effectively. So overall, I think it's a big improvement in gameplay.
Yeah, this is. I remember this is us talking about waiting for the team to engage. So I was waiting for that, and then trying to get some attention off of me.
Yep. So good job. Good job. Kind of you bided your time, and then you ended up melting in there. All right. So here, um, you see all of them. Let's look at the placement. The problem is that we're using it from I would maybe recommend using it when they're more in a brawl than when they're really
Backing
far
away.
away. Yeah, because from here, even if you get one or two of them, it's gonna be much harder for you or your team to follow up on it.
I was about to say, seeing now, I could have gone up on that up left over there, top left, and maybe even just chilled there and gotten better value if I waited a little bit longer.
Yeah, and the other thing is that like look how much easier it is. I mean, you can't really see too well because I can't sing and turn my camera. But look how much easier it is to angle these as well from up on a high ground. So taking a high ground might be a good idea to be able to do that. Oh,
Yeah, because now
is that a
looking at that from that
manatee? I thought it
angle,
was a whale. He has
it is
legs.
oil.
It is a whale that has legs.
Oh yeah, shit.
It's a whale with legs or arms or something. Legs and arms.
But yeah, they're all away from it now.
Yeah,
From the
so
angle I had, it looked like they were all there.
yeah. So they all kind of ran out of it. You got 2 down,
Oh, Squirrel Girl in the back, but
but
she's
then
already
yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. She's just too far away to get follow up, and then the Magneto got up quick enough to use an ability to get out of it. So if you use it when you're a bit more in the when they're a bit more in the brawl, use it when they're a bit more clumped together and they can't run away. You want to use it when they're not paying attention, but if all of them are in the middle backing up, then they're not as distracted to be able to like if they're all in the middle of a fight, it's much harder for them to notice it. Take it from my experience, I've definitely had like, and I have a pretty decent awareness, but sometimes when you're just in the middle of the fight, you just don't notice until you're smacked on the head with that ultimate.
Yeah, you kind of
Um,
got those horse blinders.
yeah, so using it in the middle of the brawl is gonna be much more effective sometimes. All right, so you come up to the left. I said, what the? Oh, I didn't know that
Oh,
part
the
of the
map
map.
changes. Yeah, freaked out.
That
I
was
was trying to run
unfortunate.
back after that.
Do you know what is there an something I need to maybe look into? Is there some kind of activation to the map changing? Is it like a
I
certain
think it's
point on the
where
map you
where
reach
the
or
yeah, I think it's where the map or the
payload
payload
is?
gets to.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I was maybe thinking. But I wasn't sure if that was
I'm not
true.
100%. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
100% myself, but that's usually once the payload gets a certain point that everything just decides to change on you on this map.
Denizens of the deep. Drown them.
Mm,
I remember this guy switching to Wolverine basically changed up the whole entire game. Like him switching to Wolverine changed the game up for
yeah.
them
Mhm.
because it started becoming more one-sided.
Yep. So notice that we're going on this little flank. Um so let's take a look real quick. So firstly we chuck them out. But then once again, we don't really have a target we're acquiring very quickly. Oh, there we go. We almost got her. Wolverine put pressure on you. Good job disengaging. Okay. Let's see on the because this is a newer map. Let's see if we can look around. Are there? I mean, there's the top right high ground. If you maybe used your swirl to get up here, you could be kind of chilling up. Oh, darn it! I can't look down. This is so unfortunate. You can just chuck them your turrets behind them once again
Hmm.
and be shooting at them from up on the high ground, and then all you need to do is to either get around the corner, or if they try to get up to contest you, you can just back up and drop back to your team. So getting up to that high ground might be a pretty decent idea. Going that left side is an okay off angle, but it's an off angle that is pretty exposed and they can see you pretty easily and kind of just shield you pretty easy. Another idea might be this right side. Once again, kind of gets you to that more of their back line than still being on the front end of them. Does
Got
that
you.
make sense?
Yeah.
So your off angle is better than just sitting in the front, but I think not as efficient as if you were taking one of those side angles.
And get in their back line instead of
Yeah.
like yeah.
All right, let's see. You died to something. What you died to?
That fucking Squirrel Girl ult. Because Wolverine chased me, and then I, at the same time, the Squirrel Girl.
Yeah. So being careful, watch, being intentional about watching for her ultimate. Oh, and then that's round.
Yeah, I remember I got out the water bubble, and I was like, well, I'm dead to this. There's nothing I could do.
Okay.
I am the ocean's avenging sun.
So coming out a little bit late.
Once we get this timeline thing sorted out,
I think I was on my phone or something. Just because the rounds are so, like, 35 seconds in between rounds, so.
Yeah. See, notice how we missed that one.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a harder one to hit though. Nice.
Yeah, in my mind, I seen that she was falling and she landed on that damn canopy.
Mhm.
Protect your king. Wash our foes away.
I like that you're taking different angles. That's a good habit to be in. But they kind of disengaged from you.
From the coldest depths.
I think this is where the team kept getting jumped by the Wolverine, and they told me to play more back with them. Which I don't know how I felt about that, because I felt like I was doing a decent job, not crazy good, but decent job getting picks in the back line.
Yeah.
But they just kept getting jumped by the Wolverine.
All right. So here, problem is we get up to the high grounds, but then they are all. I don't think
Looking at me.
I don't think you notice that your whole team is backing up, and or
Or
dead
dead.
right? They're all dead or backing up, right? So you have 3 teammates alive, but they're all the way back here. You don't have your swirl. What would be an easy way to disengage from where you're at?
Going to the right into that hallway and coming back down to where that doorway is.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty
To
good.
the right, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good way to disengage. Going inside and around. You could also, if you're gonna drop, use your little hover down, and then that
Oh,
would
yeah.
and especially like if you like, so you could, or you could just like drop so that you're getting around this corner right away, and that puts you out of everyone's LOS, right? So there are different options.
Hmm.
You could hover, you could drop to get around that corner, you could take the inside way and get inside that way, but we just kind of just drop straight into like all of them, right?
Yeah.
Which just makes it super easy for them to kill you.
I guess dropping right around that corner would be way better.
Yep.
That is much better.
All right. Here we just kind of run straight out on the point. Okay, so because you have because I think you're running to the
Yeah,
the
it's a
cloak's ultimates.
touch. Yeah.
What you running? Are you running to touch, or are you running to go stand in cloak's ultimate?
Both.
Both. Okay. Because.
Because she put it right on point.
Yeah. Alright. So, unfortunately, he eats both of those. So make sure you're being careful about throwing those into that.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh wait, no, never mind. It doesn't eat them. They go through it. It looked like it ate them, but they just went past. You just
Oh,
missed and they
okay.
went past.
I was about to say, that makes sense if that... Because it eats all damage. I didn't know if that was a thing.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it looks like it lands on the back wall. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, shit, if I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but then I figured it out. It looked like it went through. Okay. You. So, even though you're even though we cloaked ulted on the point, I still don't know if that was the most efficient place for you to run, because being in the middle of point is just such a hard position for you to play. Because you have really bad angles on everything. It's so chaotic. You
Yeah, I was lost here.
yeah,
I remember this, I was lost.
once the ult runs out, well, then you're just in such an exposed position, right? Like, I think it'd be much better if you had stayed back on like the sidelines. I think it would put you in a better position. So if you had stayed
Like
back
over to the left.
main, or if you were playing like out of this this right side area, you'd be in a really in a safe position, but you would just have better angles and not be in a really exposed out in the open position once that ultimate runs out. So just because you're using a support ult doesn't mean that you have to go stand in it necessarily.
I remember this fight, I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah. Oh, using an ultimate right there would have been really fat, right? So you have your ultimate. If you're looking for it, and they all grouped up right there, and they're all right next to your team, right? So like using it right here on top of those supports, and you also have a Wolverine and a Magneto in that. That's a Oh, there you go. A little bit, but with your ultimate, place it behind them, because they're a natural reaction. Not all the way behind them, but just a little, just a hair behind, instead of here as a hair in front, because everybody's natural reaction to hearing an ultimate or seeing an ultimate is run
Backing up.
backwards, back up. They're not usually gonna think run, and even if they choose to run forwards, well then they're just closer to your team, and then they get stunned in the middle of their team. So here we rush
Okay.
it. You end up rushing it. Maybe take.
Oh yeah.
I notice a lot of the time you're pulling out the ult and then you're immediately using it, right? What if sometimes you pull it out and you take like an extra second or two to place it, right? If you put it a
Okay.
little bit behind them, and you had used it a hair sooner, then you would have been able to um, get it to where they're running into it, not out of it. Because here they all just run out of it, right? It would have been big if we just had the timing and the placement, because we waited.
Putting it on the back half instead of the front
Yeah,
half.
yeah. Put it in the back half, not the front half, and you also were just a bit delayed to pull it out. You saw that they were all grouped up, and you waited another like 3 seconds to even pull out the ultimate. Instead, if you're looking for the ultimate, pull it out and start lining it up, and then plop it down.
I think about right here. That's why I started looking down. Yeah.
Okay, missed that one. Kind of back up a hair early off of it. Oh, missed that one. Right, be
Yeah.
intentional. Like, you're not missing all of your regular tridents, but we seem to miss the like, maybe you're not putting enough emphasis on it. Really focus on getting it to connect. Like, wait till they maybe stand still if you need to, or like not stand still, but wait till like land land
You know where
maybe
they're gonna
like,
be.
yeah, maybe land a regular trident first or something like that. That way you can, like, it's easier to follow up with a quick powered up trident after a regular trident, because I think it actually animation cancels in anyways, if I'm not
Oh, is it
mistaken.
really?
So let's like, we can look at that real quick. I'm
Because
pretty
if
sure
that's the case, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm
Because
pretty
for
sure you can
Psylocke,
just,
that's what I do.
yeah,
I do RT then LT, because to make sure I hit a shot, then switch over.
yeah. I'm pretty sure you can just throw a regular trident, throw a powered up trident, and then throw another regular trident, and that's like a quick 1-2-3 1-2-3 combo.
Oh no shit, really?
All right, let's look at that real quick.
Now
So,
is the time to
trident,
More
right,
foes to
like that kind of
conquer.
thing,
Oh yeah.
Consider yourself
right?
And
So
you already do most of her health if you hit both.
and if you hit a headshot there, they're dead. Right. So that's a quick like 1-2-3. But what you're doing is you'll throw them all down, and then you'll just look for your first one, like that.
Hmm.
And then you end up missing it. The other thing that this does is by throwing that first one, you are lining up your shot. So if you miss it, then you have time to adjust, right? So you go
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and because yeah, so you just have time to adjust if you miss that. So I throw that first shot is kind of like a tracer shot. You're throwing it for the for the extra damage, because of the combo, but also because it helps you line up the second more important shot, which is the I'm trying to learn all the names. Wrath of the Seven Seas. That doesn't flow off the tongue. What am I supposed to call it? Wrath. All right. Well,
You could just say your what is it for you? Your right click?
right click. Yeah, but I don't. You're on console, so I don't have to say right click. Your
Yeah, I get
superpower
it. I
trident.
understand. Yeah, because like I said, J3 and Nate Shot play on there, and they talk about it like that.
the pokey thing. All right. I think that's,
I didn't know that was a cancellation like that. That's
yeah.
because, like I said, when I play Psylocke, I do my initial attack, then I do my LT just because I get a little bit of damage, and like how you said, it follows my shot. I didn't know that for Namor that you could do that.
Yeah, it's just a really quick follow up with it. So
Yeah, and like you said, it helps you to readjust your shot if you missed the first one,
yeah, exactly.
and it's not as important as the second one where all your turrets are aligned with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Mm.
The more you learn.
Yeah, we're past that. Like maybe over here. Yeah, right there.
So I'm not saying all the time, but I usually hit the second shot, but that's the normal trident.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think cross replacements can still use a lot of work. I don't think we're hitting many headshots.
Hmm.
And just aiming it up more.
I think this game is on Tuesday. I have been focusing, or at least making a mental effort to
Mm-hmm.
focus more on the head. And I have actually, when teams are trying to disengage, hitting headshots, I'm just like, oh shit, and getting the kills because of it.
Nice. All right. So I think with the triple one, you want to usually use the triple. I think if you uh know that you can get value out of it. So like when you're, I'd say the best time to use the triple is when you're like on a flank or on, and you know that you get value from like chucking them behind them.
Hmm.
Because then they're gonna react slower to destroy them, and you could get a really quick pick off of all of that damage from 3 octopi
Yeah.
behind them. But when they're in the front, I think they're gonna end up getting destroyed easier, and they're gonna have a harder time of getting value because there's like like a Magneto can just kind of shield it and not take as much damage. So it might be at that point when you're playing kind of from that front line, might be better to rotate them and maybe use 2.
Got you.
Yeah. You get a little bit low, watch your health, request healing if you don't already have that bound. It's a great thing to have bound because it gets your
I now have
supports
it as
to.
one of my triggers.
Yep, it's something for it just gets your supports to look at you quicker. Um, and then you also come off to this left side, which kind of puts you uh in a narrow corridor. I don't know if that's the best place to be playing because you're in this really narrow corridor that's so hard to back out of. So you just gotta be careful with that angle. Okay, I think we panic a little bit on. I don't even think he was on you there.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna snatch me if I remember correctly.
Okay. Be careful not to especially if you're planning on using your octopi soon. Don't throw in your powered up trident because you throw that in and then you use them and now you don't have the powered up trident for another couple seconds, which means that they could end up destroying those before you even get anything. You end up shooting at anything. Okay, so we notice our whole team's dead. Good disengage.
Attack them!
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
So you land the second one.
Yeah. Now that I know that it's a cancellation, I'm definitely gonna right click or RTLT.
Yep.
In
Yeah,
this
I
game, it's
think.
just awkward to hit a left trigger because I mean, almost all games you're not hitting LT to fire.
Yep. Okay. I think that that's a great spot to have them, but maybe a little bit poor in timing. Um, because your team's not necessarily ready to fully engage yet, and they can easily uh back around the corner and shoot at those to get them killed. I mean, they still run into it and they don't look at them. So I mean, they get value because they don't look at they don't even look at your turrets at all. I think they could have probably easily looked at the turrets, so maybe it would have been better to wait a second for them to engage in further. But I
Okay.
don't. I think the placement was really good, and they don't, and it gets value because they don't look at them, which is great because that placing it on that back wall makes it hard because they have to turn around for it. Whenever they have to turn around for your octopi, they're probably gonna get immensely more value. Nice. Good job taking the high ground. I think there's maybe a few times where we could be taking high ground more or maintaining the high ground more. Uh-oh. Awareness, right? We don't seem to notice that there's a Wolverine like sneaking up behind you.
No, not at all. I remember. I think I screamed at this point.
And that I don't think there's. You somehow make it out. Good job. All right. Might recommend not ulting while they're using a support ult unless you
Yeah, I
have a
panicked.
unless you have a big follow-up ability, because if they're in the middle of using the daggers ultimate, right? Then that will mean that you're just, even if you would have to get the kill off of the, like, somebody being in the middle of it. Them
Hmm.
being stunned's not going to do nothing because they're just going to stay alive through it, right? So
Yeah.
would be, unless you're comboing with some other big ultimate, like you could maybe combo it. I don't even know if
With
any of your things would one tap it. Like, I don't even know if Winter Soldier would be able to one tap. So
yeah, no.
yeah,
I've seen a
so
lot of people doing the Groot and
Namor.
what's it called, Namor. Yeah,
Yep, that would be a good combo. I
I've
saw.
seen some get that crazy value.
Hey, maybe retaking high ground would be a good idea at some point here. You could have easily taken the stairs to get up there. I think it would have been
Okay.
a much better position. And in that time you're rotating up there, you would have been recharging all of your, would have been recharging everything too. Yeah, because from here they're gonna get some value. And missing Trident again. Definitely need to put so much more effort into that because you can get so much more value if that's connecting. Great headshots.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't been ever since I stopped playing Valorant. I stopped going in aim labs enough. I think I need to go back to the aim labs.
Yep. And even if it's just like a quick like 5-10 before you're queuing for comp, right? So that's a good warm up to get going with your
Hmm.
with your aim. Yeah. When they push in, I like this angle. Uh, Even if you connected that, rockets in the room, so it's not like your turrets could even shoot at them.
Yeah.
Okay, good job watching for the Magneto. Once again, you do back up significantly far from the fight. Look at your distance from the fight here. Remember that you're not necessarily a long-range character, right? You're not like Black Widow. You can play a range sometimes, but not preferably because of the fact that it's much more difficult to land your shots from a range. You're not gonna have good angles to do it. Right, so probably wouldn't recommend backing up that far out of a fight, just because you're not able to see anything. Plus, once he gets off that high ground, you can just go run up and retake it pretty easy. But we're kind of sitting on this low ground. And notice, like, every time we just play from the back here, we tend to find it a lot harder to get value than when we're getting those angles off on the side. Like, whenever you're off on the side, you're getting like a pick or two. But whenever we're playing from the front, like, we're getting value. It's just really slow and hard value. Yeah. Not looking at the Wolverine who you could focus down with your team and is in LOS of all of your turrets. So
Got you.
focusing the Wolverine here, but instead you're shooting at people who are like 40 meters away, right? Like, they're all so far away that, one, it's gonna be really hard to get those kills from back here. Two, like, if you focusing down the Wolverine could save the life of
Strange.
your Strange. Okay. Notice, once again, too early, not waiting for the follow up. Generally speaking, so at this point, because of how far away your teams are, you've kind of reached like a lull in the fight, and you got to wait for the fight to actually be happening.
Hmm.
Usually your ultimate's going to be better. I'd say your ultimate's going to be best maybe towards the mid fight. is gonna be where your ultimate is. It gets its most value. You could use it a bit. Like I wouldn't generally, unless you're comboing it with another ultimate. And your team's ready for quick follow up. I wouldn't use it first thing in a fight. Or, like I wouldn't
Gotcha.
use it first thing because here we're using it and just even if you landed on stuff, nobody can follow up on it. You're way too far away from everything to follow up. You can't follow up, your team can't follow up, and that's why it doesn't give value, right? So wait for them to come in and actually start brawling where your team can actually follow up with it and they're distracted. There, it only knocks over like one thing because they can all easily just run out of it because they're paying attention.
Denizens of the deep.
Oh, well, he just kind of runs over you with an ultimate.
Denizens of the deep.
Even if you're like trying to flank and get the Wolverine, I wouldn't like face tank him because of I wouldn't run into his face. Keep a little bit of a distance, and
Okay.
so you're not just getting rolled over. You're not a brawly character, so.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint.
Oh, they do have that feature. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. I don't know if they've added that in recently because I don't remember that, but they
Oh,
have.
the switch to different
Yeah,
spawn room. Yeah, that just happened this past update.
this past update. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Cool.
so when the season started,
They
or
wasn't
whenever
there.
the hell that was, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Gotcha. That's a good thing to know. I don't think I've noticed that since since the recent patch.
It's good and bad because when you're like trying to pull up the menu, it's the same exact button. So if I'm trying to look at like the scoreboard, it'll randomly switch me to
Oh,
Kingdom Come.
I gotcha. On PC, it's definitely not. They have it. It says G, and that's nothing. So,
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. See, for console, it's the select button, and that's the
gotcha.
same thing to
You
pull up
might,
the
yeah,
scoreboard.
you might want to try a different, like rebinding it then if you're able to. Like if you have any other buttons you can press, that might be good.
True. Yeah, I probably should.
Denizens of the deep.
Probably like D-pad or something. I'm looking at my controller.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit early. This is probably gonna get destroyed. Might have been better to hold on to them. Right now you're pretty out in the open, pretty exposed. You want to be
Mhm.
running to cover quicker here, because that's what gets you killed. Is you're just way too far on the open, not using cover. I think we can. How much time do we have left? We can finish this. We got a minute. Okay, good. We get respawned. Uh-oh. Wolverine's just running at you. Okay. Body shot, body shot, body shot.
This is real fire.
Okay, so here you don't really. I think that this is.
Definitely need to look up.
Yeah. I think that this ain't like from here you don't really have very good off angles or high grounds, so I think it's fine to be on the low ground here because you just don't really have the options. So I think where you're at is now fine because of the lack of available options. But you also are playing pretty far back. Your team has pushed them back there, so it might be better to be more so like here where you can actually like see things and intentionally shoot at them instead of just spamming. So playing a hair further, a hair closer could be valuable. You also have your ultimate available. So if you're playing up a little bit closer, you could use your ultimate much more efficiently than trying to chuck it in from back here. Um, let's see, are they? No, they're not using nothing. Okay, so that's. Let's see what happens with that ultimate. Darn it! I need to maybe rebind that top view one because I keep accidentally pressing it because it's right next to the button for the other thing. Um, it doesn't look like it connects with anything. Once again, notice how you're chucking it in from so far away. You chuck it in, and their team hasn't even pushed out yet, so it only connects with. No, it doesn't even really connect with Magneto. I don't know if he's out of range or if he might have just been out of range. So, um, once again, really careful about chucking it in from so far away because it's so hard to time it, and they have more. The further away it is, it's just gonna be harder to get it to go where you want it to go.
Okay.
We are undefeatable.
Unless you're like up on a high ground, being up on a high ground might make that easier. Um, Here we don't react to Wolverine and Squirrel Stampede, right? To awareness, use your bubble. You're also just standing really far out in the open and ahead of your and like kind of your strange is not there, so you probably should be getting around the corner. We kind of stand in all of it. All right, and that's game. And you guys lost. Yeah, just
Mhm.
barely. All right. let's do wrap up review and main points. Next 5 minutes here. Okay. Abilities better than last time. I think that there are still sometimes. So with your octopi, I think still could be like there's still a bit of room to work on it. Both in the figuring out the rotations. I think that you generally have a really good idea with it. Just probably want to be use the two save one rotation when you're just spamming and when you're kind of don't have any clear opportunities. But if you have a clear opportunity to get a KO by like chucking it in their backline, then go for it. Just chuck all three, and then you'll be able to get quicker value out of it. You much more value out of the swirly, right? Much more value. Good job. That is called Blessing of the Deep. Darn it, these have such long names. Blessing. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna call it the swirly. All right. So much more value out of that. Good job. Trident. We talked about the combo. Much more effective in terms of landing.
Hell yeah.
And just make sure you have a target lined up for it. Don't just like chuck out all your octopi and then take like 5 seconds to acquire a target. If that'll end up getting them killed, especially if you're doing like a quick flank with it. But remember that flanking or off angling and getting on those that's gonna be immensely valuable to be able to get easy picks with your octopi, right? So instead of just coming from the front here, we can take the high ground and do this where we go bam bam, get it behind them, and then we can, or up on the wall over here, right? And then they can just poke them from behind, and it just creates so much pressure. Look at how much easier it is to land your ultimate from like a high ground where you can aim it than from like down here where it becomes the angle becomes much harder to see, right?
Yeah, the field of view or the depth.
Yeah, the field of view. Yep. So high grounds would be great for your ultimate. Also, get a little bit closer where it's easier to line it up. Look at how much easier this is, right, from here. And just place it a little bit behind them so that they run backwards into it. Overall ability usage, probably like a medium priority for you to work on, especially the trident usage, right? That make sure that's connecting. Maybe even higher end of medium. Ult usage, probably a higher end of a medium. Then comes your mechanics, crosshair placement. Though I think you said you have been doing better with it in future games. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yep. So
I've been more conscious of it. Like that game, you can notice that I started slowly doing it more.
Yeah.
Because that was like the second or third day after our first meeting.
Yeah.
So, been trying to focus more on keeping it above chest level.
Yep. So, exactly. Look to do that more and target priority sometimes. Like sometimes we get too caught up on the front line. But overall, that's like a maybe like either a lower end of a medium or even like a higher end of a low to medium, right? So especially if you've been working on it more. So still some room to go, but it's probably better if you've been working on it. And then you have positioning. Make sure that you're using cover. Sometimes you're out in the open. Good positioning is the use of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Sometimes you're on the low ground when you could be taking a high ground. So make sure you're taking those high grounds. Make sure you're taking those off angles. You are doing a much better job of that. But I think there's some times where you probably could take the off angle or the flank, and you're kind of just sitting down main. So look to utilize those because you got so much more value when you're doing that, right? Like you definitely much more value than when you're just kind of chilling down main. I think you're getting a lot more value picking off their back line. Overall, that one was like a higher end of a medium, and then finally awareness. Pay attention to your flanks. Watch where their team is. I think that was better than last time. You said it sounds like it's better than last time. Just keep paying attention to your surroundings. What's the kind of the flow of the fight, and where's your team at, and where's their team at. Overall, that one was like a low to medium, right? I think there were a few instances, but it wasn't like all the time that you were getting caught out. There was like twice that you got caught out by like one of their Wolverine flanking or something like that.
Yeah.
So overall, number one, probably honestly ult usage, because I think that should hopefully be something that you could quickly and easily fix if you're placing a little bit behind them. Take a hair more time to line it up. Don't just call it out and immediately throw it. Maybe like take a second to line it up and then throw it, right? Yeah, so focus on that real quick, and it should be hopefully something that doesn't take too crazy long. You won't need to spend like an entire week on that.
Hmm.
And then next comes abilities, and then especially your trident, and then next after that probably comes positioning, and that'll be like the next big one, and then mechanics, and then finally awareness. Any final questions about anything?
No, learning that combo is going to be interesting to see the difference.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I think that's about it. Let's see. I'm gonna stop the recording here.